You guys okay? Hey, what's up, y'all? My name is Millennial Smark, and I'm bringing you the slop, the whole slop, and nothing but the slop. Just warning you guys, this is a very heavy news, journalistic, I guess you can say, type of episode. Not going to be a lot of jokes, just reporting on the things that I'm seeing and giving my opinion on it. It's still commentary, but it's very, I got so many motherfucking links in the description box. It is crazy, but I got to give context to the things that I'm saying because I'm making some heavy accusations here and I got to back up my points. And it's not just strictly just the title that you see in the video in itself, right? Like, we're not just strictly talking about AEW and this huge expose that I'm essentially kind of creating out of whole cloth, but I'm just following the paper trail at the moment, but also the situation with Mandy Rose, which I can't even show her video because I'm afraid she's going to copyright strike me like she's been doing everybody else along with Lacey Evans, right? And then the situation with Santos Escobar and how many people were getting the story wrong and the reports that are coming out right now, but people weren't necessarily getting the story wrong. And this whole situation with this hashtag fire Triple H, it's a crazy news day. So just follow along with me. I have everything, literally every damn word that comes out of my mouth is corroborated with links all throughout the description box. So do yourselves a favor and look at that. Don't call me out. Oh, Devonta, I promise you, is located in the description box below. So with that being said, let's get directly into the video. AEW ended up getting 226,000 viewers, and the 18 to 49 demographic ended up becoming 0.03. Now, that's not the big story of it all, but I do want to focus on that for a moment, though, and I just want to suggest this was not preempted. Well, at least not to the degree as to what the AEW fanboys will make it out to be, right? Preempted, yes. Preempted as far as it showing up in the afternoon, where AEW fans have no clue that it's on? No. Preempted as in showing up on a different day? No. Even ignoring the preempted arguments, did it go head up against any WWE shows? No. It was pretty much a stereotypical, we're gonna air our show, there's a couple of games on, no different than any other Saturday night show. It came on at 7 p.m. and it ran from 7 to 9 on Saturday. Most of those football games, they come on at 8, if I'm not mistaken, right? The majority of the major ones, right? The primetime slots. So AEW fans, they could have tuned in at 7. Hell, they could have tuned in at 8 if they really wanted to, right? If they actually thought the show was coming on at 8, they would have just tuned in no differently and the show would have been on. At the very least, that number would have figured into the median. None of that happened, though. None of that happened. Now, I bring this up because the majority of people are going to probably, most likely, and I can understand your premise, they're going to say, well, Devontae, aren't you living under a rock, it looks like, right? The new methodology report, the big data plus panel that has been trotted out there by Nielsen has now sunk its teeth, its sunk its hooks within professional wrestling, as we've gone over last week. And just to give a bit of clarity, because some of you people aren't aware of it, I'll leave a link down in the description box below, but just to kind of give you the TLDR, right? Apparently this whole thing is to bring in different entities as far as how they measure out different platforms and streaming devices and streams all over the place in order to illustrate better and give more clarity in regards to how many people are actually tuning in to these shows. Mind you, this is all for advertising purposes, right? It's no different than what you were seeing when YouTube was eventually incorporated on Billboard, right? No different. It's just to give more chances for advertisers to understand what they're actually sinking their money into. That's all that is in the end of the day, right? Now, you can read it for yourselves. I left the link down in the description box below if you'd like to go over it. But that's the TLDR. So essentially, no matter what you do, your numbers should theoretically go up, right? Because the more devices are brought into play, the more streamings or live streams are brought in for you to look at and play into. It's just more quantity would typically mean heightened numbers. But why do they go in reverse? Why do they go in reverse? Well, see, I got you too, because I know most people are going to probably bring up the HBO Max numbers, right? And look, WrestleNomics did go out of their way and they reported on this I guess this was earlier today. I thought it was last week for some reason. AEW's HBO Max simulcasts are not counted in Nielsen's TV ratings, even under the new methodology, says a representative from the Warner Brothers Discovery, right? These are the people that own AEW. Or at least they put them out there or give them the opportunity to put their product on television, right? These are the people that are over them. But this is being stated by a representative of Warner Brothers. We'll get back to that in a minute, okay? We'll get back to that in a minute because I'm bringing this all in together. Apparently another situation occurred with AEW that kind of exposed them a little tiny bit. So as you guys know, they were in Texas this year for All In, right? Their biggest show of the year. Well, apparently they were being funded by the Texas governor, right? Texas government, easy for me to say, where they were approved over $1 million in order to fund this whole expenditure in regards to AEW and All In, right? Just public reimbursement, right? No difference. Tax dollars being spent in order to recoup on those funds in order to use for the state, or more in particular, maybe that city. No different than any other wrestling event or any other stadium show or concert. They do this shit all the time, right? The problem with that is that the projected number was supposed to be around 32,500 spectators, when in reality, they ended up being around 21,973 spectators. Meaning, what they were actually given as far as reimbursements after subtracting that number was actually $700,000. That's how much money they were given after being funded initially $1 million and having to pay back that $1 million and getting nothing in return. Because again, $700,000, I'm not going to say nothing. That is something. I'm not going to say that. But essentially, they got back way less than they were expecting is essentially what I'm getting at, right? Now, unfortunately, would you have actually known this had someone like a Brandon Thurston not do his due diligence and tell you all this stuff? Probably not. Because according to him, AEW also wanted arbitration and confidentiality clauses with city-owned esports stadiums to, and I quote, not publish or disclose attendance figures, turnstile counts, drop counts, ticket numbers, revenues, and box office receipts. He furthers on by saying the full language of AEW's suggested arbitration clause, it included a carve-out acknowledging the EFAA. At least some talent contracts also contain arbitration clauses as below, but there are narrow circumstances in which Texas government entities can agree to arbitration. Essentially saying that Tony Khan likes to put clauses in his contracts that tells you can't tell anybody what he's actually making in regards to numbers or values in regards to anything revolving around numbers. He's hiding his numbers, which fine. That's fine. You can hide your numbers. But again, that begs the question in regards to the 226,000 viewership number and people questioning whether or not, which WB did go out of the way, questioning whether or not, hey, where's the Warner Brothers Discovery numbers? Unfortunately, bad news for you as well. To corroborate with them hiding their numbers, HBO Max is owned by Warner Brothers Discovery, which airs AEW programming on TBS and TNT. Warner Brothers Discovery has explicitly chosen not to share live streaming data from HBO Max with Nielsen for inclusion in its TV ratings. A WBD spokesperson confirmed to WrestleNomics, and I quote, "Nothing has changed in terms of what is baked into their numbers from the Warner Brothers Discovery side of things. AEW's Dynamite and Collision linear viewership information reported by Nielsen still does not include HBO Max streaming viewership. This is a deliberate business decision, client discretion, Oh, that sounds familiar. Similar to how HBO Max opted out of Nielsen's weekly streaming rankings in 2021 to avoid undercounting linear HBO viewerships or viewers, or for competitive reasons, meaning they didn't want the numbers leaked out to embarrass them in front of WWE. No automatic inclusion. Even though big data plus panel pulls from device level data, smart TVs watching HBO Max, Nielsen requires explicit partnerships or first party data feeds from streamers to integrate into its TV metrics. Warner Bros. Discovery hasn't provided this for live AEW streams, so HBO Max views stays siloed in streaming only reports, not the main TV ratings. So, for people who say things like, we can't get the HBO Max numbers integrated within this new system, that's why the number is so low. No, the number is so low because they're also hiding their numbers as far as the HBO Max numbers are considered. They personally decided to not opt into the system. Therefore, it's not configured into this. I wonder why they're hiding their numbers. Could it be because they're exponentially low and it wouldn't make a difference to begin with? The part that gets me the most though, right? The part that gets me the most, it brings me back, and I'll leave the link in the description box if you want to watch the original video that I made last year. I made this video about 1.5 years ago, back in April of 2024, or May, one of those 2 months, where I talked about AEW making this claim that they were worth $2 billion. And everybody was like, oh, you see, they're worth so much money. Oh, WWE, they have another thing coming. Oh. And I called out all the bullshit. And I brought up the methodology report that Forrest was using in order to talk to them about this stuff. One of the methodology, or within the methodology report, was them saying that, hey, for some of these guys, they're public. But for the private companies, we have to actually go off of what they're saying to us. AEW is private. They had to actually ask the people that work for the company what their numbers were. Everything is literally hidden within AEW. The numbers that you get on Front Street that you can't hide is what you see, and that's what you get. The numbers that they tell you that you can't see, always take for a grain of salt. Never let anyone tell you anything in regards to whether or not the max numbers. HBO Max opted out of showing their numbers. It's not that you can't find it because you're searching for something that can't be seen. They opted out of it. We could actually see the streaming numbers from HBO had they actually opted in to the new big panel system, but they decided to opt out because then they'd be exposed for not having a lot of viewers streaming. You know, one thing, and I'll talk about WWE in a minute, one thing I will give credit where credit is due is that WWE is public. Everything that they do, no matter how embarrassing the numbers are, and they are embarrassing, again, we'll get to that a little bit later on, they at least have the cojones, they have the balls, they have no choice but to show their numbers. I find it funny though. The product is so good though. The product is so excellent. You have to hide your numbers in regards to your HBO streams. You have to hide your numbers as far as your turnstiles. You have to hide your ticket numbers as far as how much you actually sold. You have to put arbitration clauses to not let people know how much money was actually made, how many tickets were actually fucking sold. Where is the transparency with this company? That's why everything ends up being an expose, because you yourself don't have the balls to actually show the numbers that are actually being distributed, because you know you're going to be embarrassed the minute you actually show any of these things. Again, all my links are in the description box below. Go ahead, have fun with it. I'm not making anything up. You tell me where I'm wrong with anything that I said. I will be happy to listen, and I'm reciprocal when it comes to actually fine-tuning what I'm looking up and how I'm supposed to look it up. But please, by all means, go ahead. Next topic. So originally I kind of wanted to record the video in itself and then let you guys hear the words coming from Mandy Rose's mouth herself. But unfortunately, because her and Lacey Evans are on an absolute copyright spree right now, I didn't want to take any chances, especially because I kind of felt like that opener of the video was very important, and I'm not going to let probably the lowest segment as far as importance is considered on this entire video, I'm not going to let that ruin the entire fucking video, because Mandy Rose doesn't know how to take criticism, especially criticism that comes out of her own fucking mouth. So instead, I'm going to read it for you guys. So screen, look ahead. But if you do care, the link is down in the description box below if you want to watch the actual video in itself. As more female stars exit WWE or NXT and launch their own premium content brands, fans have been quick to point fingers at Mandy as the one who, and I quote, started it all. But she sees it differently, not as grooming, but as empowering others to take ownership of their careers. And I quote, this is Mandy Rose, "You're always going to be connected to that stigmatism, which in my eyes is an incredible thing, because all these females that are going to leave NXT or WWE, they're going to see the opportunity to be able to control their own brand." Which, by the way, she's talking about OnlyFans, but keep that in mind. The amount of euphemisms this chick has to use in order to cover up for the stuff that she has to do. She continues on, right? It says, and I quote, "Mandy made it clear she's not secretly recruiting anyone, but acknowledge their success, or but acknowledge that her success has become a blueprint for others, and that comes with responsibility." And I quote from Mandy Rose, "And control their entity. They're going to call you for advice minimum, right? They're going to see how you did it. What was your blueprint? How did you do this?" And then it continues on. She also broke down the reality that WWE talent are treated as independent contractors, meaning no healthcare, no benefits, and no guaranteed security. So when someone gets cut or chooses to walk, they often start looking for sustainable, profitable options. And I quote from her, "At the end of the day, it's a business, and we're all trying to make the most that we can make out of anything because we're all young." I mean, they're in their early 20s, you're in your mid 30s, but sure. Eventually, people want to start families. You want to set yourself up for the future. Look, you can use as much euphemisms as you would like to use, Mandy Rose, okay? I have no problem with you trying to get the bag. I have no problem with whatever methods that are legal that you feel like you have to do what you got to do, right? Just like Pac says, only God can judge me, right? Do whatever you feel you have to do in order to get the bag. But why do you always have to talk like this, bro? She actually says something in the video that cracked me the fuck up, right? Someone, the host, right? The guy that she's talking to, he brings up OnlyFans, right? And she rarely says, I don't even think I heard her. She probably did and I didn't pay attention. I promise you though, bruh, you can probably count on one hand, if at all, how many times she actually uttered the phrase or the name OnlyFans. You can probably count on one hand, if at all, because she doesn't even bring it up half the fucking time. Again, if at all. She always uses these crazy euphemisms. She'll be like, you want these wrestlers to be able to, be accountable for themselves based off of this subscription-based platform. That's what she kept saying throughout the video. She wouldn't say OnlyFans. She would say subscription-based platform. And that tells you all you need to hear in order to get the correct consensus as to what she's trying to get across, right? She knows how this shit makes all the women look. She knows that OnlyFans, for the most part, is just showing off your bodies and getting paid for it. Like I said, get the bag. If you got the goods, then why the fuck not? I wish I was a hoe. I'd be exploiting my body like a motherfucker right now. Getting paid all day. Making simps into wimps. You goddamn right. What the fuck? Hell yeah. Do what you gotta do as a single woman to get yours. And I'm not saying Mindy's single, I think she's actually married, but just any woman out there, you ain't got no kids, you single, you trying to make up something for yourself, that's fine. But understand that shit's only gonna last for only so long. You may be hot now, but when you gotta eventually spend that money on that plastic surgery to recoup those funds in order to keep continuing doing what you're currently doing at the moment, that's when the wall actually starts to close in, or dare I say, starts to hit you. Stop making up all these excuses, knowing in reality what you're doing. Own it. Own the shit. But after owning it, like you said, make your money, prepare your future. You're still young. You are still, not you, Mandy, but the girls are still young. Do what you have to do to put that money and stack it up into your bank account, and maybe hopefully use that in order to start a business of your own. Do whatever you have to do. Maybe, I don't know, go out of your way. I wouldn't necessarily say start a retirement fund. Not that it's bad, but I feel like maybe Mandy should, but like the girls in their early 20s, it's okay to live a little in your 20s. You know what I mean? I wouldn't say start really, if you want to, go ahead, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's the end of the world to not start a retirement fund by the age of 30 or something like that. That's when I probably figure you should probably start doing stuff like that. But have your fun. Do whatever you want to do. But own it. That's my main thing. Own it. People want to pick at you and say all these things. Own it. Own it. You know what you're doing is, for better or for worse, taboo. But it's not illegal. So, if everybody else is calling it out and you have a problem with it and you're taking it to heart, does it mean that there's somewhat rights? Otherwise, why not just say OnlyFans rather than saying subscription-based platform? Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Makes you wonder. Guess who's back? Back again. Pablo's back. Tell your friend. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. It's Santos. Not Pablo. It is Santos Escobar. I always get those two confused sometimes. I wonder why, right? PW Insider confirms that Santos Escobar's contract expires at midnight. He will become a free agent. He rejected WWE's contract offer. He will leave WWE at the end of the day. Wow. That's what I said too when I initially read that report. Wow. And hey, he did end up leaving, right? Look at this photo right here. Is that not him in the alumni section? I don't know who the fuck a Saray is. Pretty sure Sasha Banks, she no longer looks like that or works in that company. Savio Vega hasn't looked like that in 40 years. Yeah, that's definitely him in the alumni section. And hey, he also posted this video after his release. Check it out. He actually tagged it as forward, as in he's moving forward. Would you do all that if you weren't moving, dare I say, forward? This is what the Wrestling Observer put out just a few hours ago, bro. This is so embarrassing in hindsight, though. God, I'm actually going to kind of cringe when reading this, all right? So Cultaholic, they gave us this transcription. They were like, Santos Escobar is reportedly expected to join AEW by people backstage in the WWE. And I quote, they've, WWE, been expecting him to leave for some time. They obviously took him from Angel and Berto for that very reason, not expecting him to stay. Yeah, he's gone. I do know people there. It's multiple people there who expect him to go to AEW. I don't know if he does or he doesn't. Hey, mistakes happen, right? Technically speaking, maybe Dave's not lying. He knows some people who knows some people who knows some people who knows some people. Maybe Santos Escobar went around telling everybody, hey, I'm going to go to AEW. Do me a favor and cállate la boca. Hey, anything is possible. And you know what else is possible? This is possible. Santos Escobar has come to terms on a new deal with WWE, and as a result, he is back with the company. Woohoo! Ooh, confetti! Someone shoot some fireworks off. The return of the legendary Santos Escobar. All it took was about 24 hours. WWE management considered Escobar's creative concerns, and as such, made him a sizably larger offer than any other previous overtures. Hey, like I said, make the bag. Get the bag, homie. Get the bag. If you feel that's what you need to do in order to live and move forward, then yeah, I completely understand. Although I am curious, what are some of the audience people, what are some of the IWC, what are they saying about this situation? People bringing up Cross are stupid. The situation are not the same. How are people ignoring the fact that Cross is a package deal with Scarlett, which they didn't want, and Santos Escobar is one person? What's this guy said? This dude never got over, never sold a ticket or shirt, even with the machine's help, but let's fight to keep him at all costs. Cross gets over by himself and made the money with no help from the company. Well, let's just get rid of him, whatever. Terrible business people, I swear. I mean, they offered Cross a contract that he turned down as well, but sure, bro, don't let facts get in front of your feelings. Oh, what's this loser said? Losing two big Latino names in the same time frame would be bad business, and they know that. Hopefully they actually do something with him this go around. Or they already said they thought Andrade was a terrible investment, and you know, they fired him because of wellness policy violations. I don't think it has nothing to do with framing, because if that was the case, they would have just kept Andrade. Okay, hey, don't let me stop you from believing. Don't stop believing. Oh, your mom's a whore. Hey, wait, JD, what did he say? Santos Escobar took one glimpse of this from AEW Dynamite last night and realized what his fate would be and ran back to WWE. Oh shit, yeah, that actually is true. That is. Hey, where is Andrade in it? That's the Don Callis family, right? Where the fuck is Andrade in this picture? He's already gone. Maybe that's an old picture. Who cares? But like, yeah, true. Why put yourself in that situation, right? Why put yourself in that kind of position? But Santos Escobar, I think this is his real account, right? I could be wrong, but I think this is his account. He ended up retweeting this, I believe. Again, not sure if this is his real account, but okay, he's gonna come back in a mask. Is he gonna come back as a gimp? Like what's this? Like you're gonna lean against the wall and take a couple of lashings, and you're gonna say the safe word? What the fuck is this? I don't fucking know. I don't like. What is this? Sure, whatever. Hey, whatever works out for Santos Escobar. I mean Escobar. I didn't call him Escobar. He's not a woman. He's a man. He's a manly man. Look, whatever creative decisions this man's gonna go down the road, and look, in the end of the day, he made his decision, right? Whether you fuck with AEW, whether you fuck with WWE, whatever best interests you, it's whatever best interests you. Do I think anything's gonna happen anything differently? No. Fuck no. Quite frankly, I'm pretty sure he didn't get offered any creative decisions, and more so he just got more of a bag. And people can sit back. I heard Karrion Kross say this, I take money. I take creative over money any day of the week. Yeah, sure. But when you get offered absurd, substantial more money than what you were previously making beforehand, yeah, those creative things, that mind that tells you all these things about how, good of a person you are by, taking the lesser of the evil, whatever fucking nonsense you want to, make yourself believe in regards to your principles and morality, it takes a back seat when it comes to that cash now, doesn't it, huh? Hey, look, if Escobar can do it, Escobar can do it. It's his life, and he can make decisions based off of his life. Okay? Okay.
I'm fucking bleeding.
According to Programming Insider, the October 3rd edition of WWE SmackDown on USA Network averaged 1.03 million viewers. Oh my god. Down from 1.23 million viewers recorded on September 26, 2025. And the key 18 to 49 demographic The show scored a 0.23 rating, a drop from last week's 0.35 rating. Holy shit. And this is SmackDown. They're not on like Netflix or anything like that. This is USA, just straight up television. Look at this shit, bro. Look at this chart right here. Yeah, look at that drop. That drop is something fucking crazy. That is a crazy fucking drop, bro. That's over 200,000 fans who just straight up tuned out WWE SmackDown this week. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable, bro. That's fucking horrific, man. Like, if you think about it, on a per ratio basis, right? A percentage basis, considering that it's a bigger number, I'd probably have to look this up. But like, man, is that... Nah, I'm not sure. Yeah, no, I think that's actually a bigger drop compared to AEW. I think that's actually a bigger drop compared to AEW. That's fucking wild, man. I get it now. So now that's why people were saying fire Triple H. I don't think... That's gotta be the... Is that the lowest viewed episode of WWE, period? Like, I've never seen it that close to the 900,000s before. I mean, obviously preempted episodes and stuff like that, but not none preemptive show, just a straight up regular episode of SmackDown. I've never seen it that low before. I've never seen the viewership number lower than that. I've never even seen the viewership number at 1.2 before, let alone 1.0. I was already shocked by the 1.23 number. The 1.03 number is wild. That is wild. There are dudes who do YouTube videos who get stronger live numbers than SmackDown damn near. That's crazy. That's scary, bro. But that's why people were saying hashtag fire Triple H. There's this trend going on right now. And apparently, I'm not going to go through all the comments, obviously, because there's no point. Because obviously all of it is going to be subjective as far as what they hate, as far as what Triple H is doing. That's not my point, right? What the point is, generalizing, everybody hates Triple H right now. And I know most people are going to probably be like, well, Devontae, look at the casual viewing audience. That's who matters at the end of the day. I don't know. I'm at the point right now where I'm like, damn, is the whole audience just made up of the IWC in general? Like, you can make that argument when it was like over 2.2 million and shit like that, right? And even then, that'd be kind of a flimsy argument. But, you know, the argument has more strength to it when it was that much high. 1.0, that's AEW numbers. That's AEW numbers 3 years ago. That's numbers that they want to get back to. Like, it's crazy to think that if AEW would have just kept up the momentum from 2022, they could compete with Raw and SmackDown right now. Like, that's how you know you're bad right now. When your numbers are now on par with AEW's numbers from 3 years ago, you're fucked. You're fucked. This is what they said as far as apparently combating this whole situation. Sources indicate that WWE is undergoing creative changes to their team to overall improve the product. Road Dogg will continue to be head of creative for SmackDown, but there will be additions to the team to make the show more enjoyable going forward or moving forward. Yeah, nah, bro. Isn't that like the problem to begin with? Like, how long has Road Dogg been around as far as creative? Like, for like 10 years now or some shit like that? Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna pull this up real quick. Let me type this in real fast. I'm gonna pull this up on Grok. Hang on. What were some of the complaints about Road Dogg as head of WWE fucking autocorrect, maybe put SmackDown creative? Let's see. What were some of the complaints about Road Dogg as head of WWE SmackDown creative? Look at this shit right here. They got a whole goddamn passage. Should I read all this shit? Man, yeah, I'll just read like the categories. I don't think I really care for the details all too much. You guys can read it for yourselves though. I'll probably end up sharing this in the comment section or in the description box below. I don't think I really want to feel like going on my way to fucking copy and paste all these screenshots, but poor booking and storytelling, right, is what they said. Yeah, actually, I'll probably put the screenshots up on. I'll probably put the screenshots, but I'm not going to read it, though, outside of the categories in themselves. Declining ratings and viewership. Let's see. Internal creative frustrations. Fan backlash and calls for removal. And perceived favoritism and stagnation. I mean, is there anything? I don't care for the perceived favoritism and stagnation from Road Dogg. I don't care for the fan backlash and calls for removal. Internal creative frustrations. Declining ratings and viewership number is probably the only one. And the poor booking and storyline one, that is the only thing that sticks out with me. I mean, everything else I don't really give a shit about. But this is what fans are saying, though. Fans are calling this kind of shit out. And, you know, when you have these many things that stem off of you as a person who happens to be in charge of creative, and you're getting apparently trending remarks about you being fired, do you think that the right course of action is to put the guy who's already been in charge for the longest, who apparently has been ruining your ratings and your creative structure, is it smart to put him further in charge and just put people around him? I don't know. That sounds kind of fucking stupid. But this is going strong right now, and I'm telling you guys, man, wrestling is dog shit right now. You got people who got to hide their ratings and hide their viewership numbers and hide their ticket sales and all this shit in order to, you know, somewhat seem more feasible. You got this wrestling company right here going out of its way to fucking meet the numbers that these assholes are trying to hide from until they inevitably get back to the promised land, which apparently happens to be the worst numbers this company has ever fucking seen. It's a complete and utter goddamn shit show. Speaking of shit show, how did you guys feel about today's video? How do you feel about the whole hashtag Fire Triple H movement going strong right now? Or in the IWC, which I guess technically is not strong. Whatever. How do you feel about the return of Santos Escobar? Do you agree with him returning? Do you want him to go back to Mexico? I didn't say that out loud. How do you feel about Mandy Rose apparently out here pimping all these hoes? And apparently AEW and its numbers aren't looking too well, and they want to make sure that you don't look at them and see how unwell that they're actually doing right now. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. As always, my name is Devontae, aka Millennial Smart, and I'll be catching you fine folks later. A deuces and a pea ice.